Okay, so hello everybody. It has been quite a while since I posted a YouTube video, and it's been quite a while that you guys have been left in the dark with what's been going on. So if you've been wondering what the heck is going on with Day, where the heck has Day been? Why does she keep talking about health issues? Why does she keep talking about mental health issues? Then you've come to the right place and the right video. I know I put a warning before all of this, but here's another warning. If you're not okay with me talking about fertility issues, if you're not okay with me talking about my uterus, if you're not okay with me talking about depression or dissociation or anything like that, if that's at all triggering to you, feel free to leave now. Absolutely no hard feelings. I know sometimes you're just not in a place to emotionally handle this. So if you are not okay with it, now is your time to go. But now the people who aren't okay with those types of things, I'm just gonna dive right in. If you saw my last update video, which I posted on OnlyFans, then you guys are kind of in the loop with what's been going on. As you guys may have known, if you watched that video, I did have 2 chemical pregnancies, which both me and my doctor weren't overly concerned about at the time. So they weren't confirmed like by the doctor, but I had positive pregnancy tests at home. I only had like a couple days late Shark Week for my period, so it wasn't a huge deal. It was more of a mental toll rather than a physical toll, but I definitely do feel like it made my hormones get kind of out of whack, and then my body didn't really have much idea what was going on. I've always really prided myself on being in tune with my body, and I feel like that's kind of where things started to get a bit wonky for me, was because of that. And of course, like before that, I was trying to find a house, it was moving, it was starting in a fresh new place, and then all of that came literally right after we got semi-settled into the new house. So it was kind of hard dealing with that again. That's where the mental health stuff kind of started a bit, and where I felt out of tune with my body, and that of course doesn't help with my job either, because as you guys can imagine, my relationship with my body is a lot of that. And actually, I don't remember specifically when I posted that video onto OnlyFans to update you guys about that. It was sometime in July, I believe, and then come mid-August, not even mid-August, beginning of August, so mid-July, and then about when I posted it, and then come early August, and I found out I was legitimately pregnant this time. So mind you, this is 3, I count them, 3 cycles in a row that sperm has met egg inside of my body. So I have no idea what the fuck is going on with my body. None of this was intentional. The first 2 times or more like a hey, if it happens, that's awesome kind of thing, like whatever. We just kind of going with the flow. And then after that, me and my partner had decided, being like, hey, we're kind of going to back off, we're going to give your body a little bit of time to adjust. And lo and behold, I got actually pregnant. I did not trust the test right away, because the previous 2 months I was like, okay, this is getting kind of wonky, like are these tests just like lying to me? Do I have some kind of hormone in my body before I get my period that just make it do this? But no, the tests got darker and darker and darker this time, and both me and my partner were like, I think that this one is legit, that's actually dark this time. So I called my doctor's office. I had actually set up an appointment 2 weeks previously, where I was supposed to go get, I think it was the Gardasil vaccination, which they recommended for anybody trying to conceive. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna get it anyway. We're not really like going to try and conceive for a little bit now, because you're letting my body breathe, but I'm just gonna get it anyway. And then I had to call the doctor and cancel that appointment because I found out I was actually pregnant. So luckily the doctors got me in about 2 days later. They're like, hey, we'll have you come in for blood work to make sure that like you actually are pregnant, basically a confirmation appointment. So I go in, they take my blood, and they only did HCG and progesterone. I went in and my doctor called me the following day and was like, hey, so you're actually pregnant. My HCG was at a good level, but the kicker, my progesterone was low. It's supposed to be at 11 or higher. If you're not familiar with fertility issues, progesterone is kind of like the chemical in your body. Your body makes it anyway, even outside of pregnancy. After you ovulate, progesterone levels go up. They rise because it's telling your body like, hey, maybe we shouldn't dispel everything from the uterus. Maybe we should make a comfy home for a baby. So progesterone is basically like the pregnancy hormone besides HCG. Makes your uterus be like, hey, let's keep all this inside, all right? Let's keep these walls comfy. And then right before you get your period, progesterone levels plummet. They go down, and then your body's like, hey, yo, we can get rid of this shit. The progesterone is gone. But because my progesterone levels were low, my doctor's like, hey, we're gonna have you come in for more blood tests to make sure that that wasn't wrong and to make sure that, like, they are going up appropriately. Because I was so early, she wasn't quite sure if that was why. So I went in a following week later. Mind you, I don't know why it took me a week to get into my doctor's office for another blood test, but it did, which was stupid. So we had a whole week in between. Mind you, the anxiety is terrible at this point, and I felt like crap. All of these women who feel lovely in pregnancy, kudos to you, you are awesome. I did not feel that way. I felt like shit. I did not want to eat anything. Nothing fucking sounded good. I used to love avocados. I was on an avocado kick, and then suddenly I hated avocados. So that's about how my food went. I wanted nothing but like steak or Wendy's chicken nuggets. And that was about it. Obviously, I needed protein in my life, but that's about where I was with food. So I was just miserable, super nauseous when I woke up in the morning. I don't know if it was the vitamins I was taking or what, but I was not having a good time. So I didn't go in until another week later, and my progesterone levels had gone up to 9. Mind you, they still want to see them at 11. They're still not where they're supposed to be. And I don't know why my doctor thought that this wasn't a big deal. She's like, well, at this lab that this one went to, they're saying that these levels are okay. Also, why is there not a national standard for progesterone levels for pregnancy? I have no idea. 11 is like the normal, but for some reason, this blood work got sent to a different lab where the level that they wanted to see was 9, and I had like 9.1. And my doctor's like, so if you want to take a progesterone supplement, you can. Otherwise, you can just kind of let it be. And I'm like, why would you tell a pregnant woman this? And also, like, can you imagine the anxiety that you're going to cause me? Yes, of course I would like to take that. Why would I not? Like, if I don't take it, you have a risk of having a miscarriage. But there's no, like, real side effects other than some nausea and maybe like a bit more bloating, constipation from taking the medication. There's no like harm in taking it, you know? But if you don't take it, you could miscarry. So like, it seems stupid just to offer that. Like, why would you not just say, here, take this kind of thing? But anyway, she sent, obviously I said yes. So she sent my prescription into the Walgreens by my house, and I go to pick it up. And when I went to go pick it up, they wanted me to pay $270 because my insurance didn't cover it. So I called my doctor the following day and was like, hey, I cannot fucking pay that. What? And instead of telling me like, hey, here's a coupon, because I tried all the different coupons I could find online. The pharmacy people were super nice and tried to help me, but they're like, hey, yo, don't fucking pay this. Way too expensive, so just call your doctor. They should get it figured out for you. So I called doctor. I didn't even get a hold of the doctor. I got a hold of like some nurses or something on the phone, whoever was at the office, and they told me that I could come in for some samples for it because they couldn't figure out with insurance and everything. So they got me to come in for samples, and instead of whatever they could do or like give me a coupon or something for it, they had to send my prescription to a pharmacy where they compound it in-house, which you think would be more expensive, but for some reason it's fucking not. So they had to send the prescription to a pharmacy that was like a half hour away from me, and I had to drive to go get it. Mind you, at this pharmacy, it was $60 instead of $270. So I don't fucking understand. I don't know why it was cheaper, but it was, whatever. got the prescription. Mind you, that whole process of dealing with the insurance and dealing with all of the issues and stuff took like 2 fucking weeks. So I was low on progesterone for like 3 weeks of my pregnancy at that point. In between all of that, in between all of the insurance issues and chemical imbalances and everything else, I had an ultrasound appointment in between all of that somewhere. Couldn't tell you exactly where, but had the first ultrasound appointment. Me and my boyfriend got to go in, and my anxiety-ridden ass, who knows that my hormone levels are low, and it's felt like shit literally this entire time. Literally, like, my mental health was not good, was not having a fucking good time just overall. And I'm like, something's gonna be wrong, something's not gonna be okay. And I was telling myself it's gonna be ectopic. I was telling myself it's going to be, like, there's gonna be nothing in there, just that something is going to be wrong. Something did not feel right to me. But we go in. The ultrasound lady, first of all, sucked. She was terrible. She was very not pleasant. Like, she just didn't have a good bedside manner. And she asked me if I was constipated first off, and then just proceeded to tell me that I was full of poop the whole time that she tried to do an ultrasound. So I ended up having to get a different kind of ultrasound, all on the same day, of course. But they ended up seeing baby, and baby had a little heartbeat and everything. But the ultrasound tech asked me to come in 2 weeks because it looked like I was a little behind, but of course that could be with dates and everything, just growth-wise. So she wanted me to come in 2 weeks to make sure that the heartbeat and everything was fine still, and that the growth had, like, evened itself out kind of thing. So I was like, cool, whatever. She didn't seem overly concerned, and the doctor didn't seem overly concerned. I went home, whatever, got everything figured out with the progesterone, which did ease some anxiety, because I was doing everything I could at that point. Like, once I was taking progesterone, I was like, okay, doing everything I can. It's fine. Whatever happens is obviously meant to happen. But you know how sometimes you just get a feeling? I was literally fighting with my intuition the entire time. I tried to chalk it up to me being in tune with my body because I've experienced a period, I've experienced ovulation for lots of years of my life. Am I 24 or 25? I don't even fucking know. I don't know how old I am anymore. I'm 25 fucking years old, and I've been having my period for over a decade now. So I'm in tune with my body because I've experienced it a shit ton of times. I know the signs, I know the feeling, like, that's why I'm in tune with my body. Like, I listened and now I know the signs. So I chalked it up to me having a bad feeling, being like, okay, I've never experienced pregnancy before. How can I know what feels wrong kind of thing? Like, this isn't intuition, this is just me having a new experience and not knowing what's going on, you know? So it sucks feeling disconnected from my body, but obviously that's the reason. It's not just my intuition. But I've always had good intuition and have always had a feeling for things, but I tried to push that off. So literally it was me fighting with myself the entire time of all the weeks that I was pregnant. It was terrible. My mental health was terrible. I did not feel good, hence why I wasn't on stream a lot, between being nauseous and oh my god, I was so fucking tired, it was ridiculous. I took naps and it still wasn't enough. I would sleep for 10 hours a night and it still wasn't enough. But between being nauseous from everything and from being tired from everything, and the bloating was terrible and I was just uncomfortable, and the mental battle that I was having with myself, being like, hey, something doesn't feel right, but telling myself that it was fine, and it was terrible. Just wasn't in a fucking good place. But after all of that, we went for my 9-week ultrasound appointment, which was the 2 weeks after my first ultrasound. Me and my partner went for that appointment, and it was a very quick ultrasound. I think I was in the room for about a total of like 3 minutes. As soon as she went to go do an ultrasound, found everything right away, like found my uterus and everything right away, but there was no heartbeat, and there had been a very little insignificant amount of growth. She tried using the Doppler, and she tried using just the regular like ultrasound tech and everything to try and find the heartbeat. There was no visual, there was no sound, and of course put me in a room with a doctor, and the doctor told me that I had a, what is it called? It is called, it's not a retained miscarriage, it's an invisible miscarriage. I can't think of the terminology right now, but it is a miscarriage where you still retain all the contents. Basically, where the baby dies, but your body doesn't know yet. So, like, you don't have a physical miscarriage, but the baby has died. So that is what my doctor told me. I wish I remembered the terminology, but I don't. But the doctor sat me down and told me that I had miscarried. And she went into this whole spiel about how we have all of these options. And mind you, this is a new doctor. This wasn't the doctor that I had previously, because the doctor that I had was pregnant and she left because she had her baby. So this is a new doctor. First time I'm seeing this doctor, and she's telling me that I had a miscarriage. And she dives into this whole thing about all of my options and starts talking about IVF. She starts talking about all of these things, like options A, B, C, D, E, F, all the way through Z. And then, here's the kicker. She said, don't, like, I'm crying. I'm sitting in the doctor's office crying. And I don't know why she thought this was a good idea. But she tells me, don't worry, hun. I promise you'll get a baby at the end of it all. Excuse me? Who comforts a patient that way? Literal terrible bedside manner. She told me, she was trying to explain the process of miscarrying to me. She said that I had 3 options. She told me that I could either wait for it to happen naturally and stop all the medications that I'm taking, so stop progesterone, stop my prenatal vitamins, just stop everything and wait for your body to catch up. Be like, okay, now my body understands that something has happened and it will expel everything naturally, but that could take up to 2 weeks. So do I want to sit around and wait, or I could take a medication that would kickstart things? She did tell me that sometimes that does, like, it induces it, so sometimes it is a little bit more painful and sometimes there's more bleeding because of the medication, which doesn't sound good. I don't fucking want that. And then she's like, your other option is a DNC, literally pretty much where they stick like a small metal tube into your cervix and suction out the contents of your cervix, or of your uterus, which did not sound appealing. You have to be put under, so it's a minor outpatient surgery, which sounded absolutely terrible. And the thought of sucking my baby out with a vacuum just didn't fucking sound good. Also, terrified of anesthesia, like literally terrified. So that wasn't even a fucking option. And so I opted for just naturally waiting, and if it happened, it did, and if it didn't end up happening in a reasonable amount of time, obviously, take medication, get surgery, whatever I needed. So sent me home, and the first day was hard. I think I spent a majority of the day crying, to be assumed, you know, like to be expected. And me and my partner was really supportive. We tried our best to make positive out of the situation, to be like, okay, like, whatever's meant to happen will happen. I had a bad feeling the entire time, so it wasn't necessarily like a relief to know that my feeling was right, but it was still like, oh my god, I knew something was wrong, like, I knew it kind of thing. So that was sucky, but at least I was in touch with my body enough to know. So that part sucked, and obviously the fact that I hadn't bled or anything yet, like I had no symptoms or anything of miscarrying. So I knew the worst was yet to come, but me and my partner were trying to be positive. We were trying to be like, hey, we're gonna take this time, we're gonna get our finances together, we are going to take this time just to enjoy just the 2 of us for longer, because it wasn't a planned pregnancy. So it was just like, hey, we're going to take this time as a blessing to actually get ready for when we do want a child, when we are actually ready. So we tried our best to make it a positive. My partner's birthday was in a couple days actually, which was unfortunate. And we went through the next few days, did whatever. We saw his family for his birthday and everything, celebrated his birthday. His birthday was on a Saturday, and I had started, I'm not going to get into super gruesome details, but I will get into the details a little bit of the process. I had started lightly bleeding within a couple of days, so it was like by his birthday, it was about when it started. And then his birthday was on Saturday, and then come that Tuesday, I had my actual miscarriage, which was brutal and horrific and gory and terrible, and my doctor did not prepare me for it at all whatsoever. I will not be going back to this doctor. She literally told me that I would have heavy cramping and to take Advil, and said nothing about how gory and horrific and how much blood you'll lose and how much it hurts. I had, like, a lot of women who miscarry have labor-like contractions. Like, you still have contents in your uterus. It doesn't matter that it's not the size of a baby. Your cervix still has to dilate, and you're still going to pass larger things, you know? She did not explain any of this to me, and it was terrible and super painful, and it hurt so bad, and then Advil's not gonna fucking help that. Why the fuck would you tell me to take Advil, you insane woman? I don't understand, and I don't understand women doctors who don't advocate for their patients and who don't inform their patients of all of the possibilities. Like, why would you not tell me this? Terrible doctor's office, like I said, won't be going back. Was not prepared for how terrible it was. It was deplorable. I had a complication. Like I said, I'm not going to go super detailed into it, but I had a complication afterwards, and the bleeding was so heavy that I had contemplated going to the ER. I did not, because I didn't feel like I felt faint enough to go to the ER, if that makes any sense. I didn't really want to go to the hospital because I'm just terrified of having to have surgery or having to have a bunch of needles poked into me, and to be alone because of COVID and everything right now. I didn't know who would be able to go in with me or not, so I was like, I'm not going to the hospital unless, like, I'm near passing out. So basically I had my mom come over, and I had my partner, and I was like, hey guys, watch me, make sure I'm okay, kind of thing. Like, if I go to sleep, wake me up every little bit and make sure I'm okay, kind of thing. So that's how that night went. And after that, I had a complication, called my doctor's office, they completely brushed it off, and was like, no, you're fine, you don't need a fucking appointment. We won't see you until 3 weeks after your miscarriage. And I'm like, but this is a problem now. And they said, well, if you have any other questions, you can call us. Otherwise, if there's a complication, you can go to the ER. And I'm like, thanks. Complication ended up working itself out. It was fine. Terrible process. Honestly, the whole process was terrible. I completely lost my relationship with my body. And I literally didn't do anything. This whole time that I've been off of work, I have not done anything. I haven't watched any movies that I enjoy. I haven't watched anything at all. I watched like a couple movies that I've seen before that didn't really require my attention because I have no attention span whatsoever. First of all, this video is really long and I apologize. But it was literally terrible. The whole experience was terrible. Towards the end, it was off and on heavy bleeding, and by the end of it all, I bled for about 6 weeks, which is not normal. My doctor told me that I would bleed for about 2 weeks, and at the end of all of that, I had to have an ultrasound to make sure that everything had cleared, to make sure that everything was okay, and my doctor's office would not see me unless I paid them $450 for a deposit or the ultrasound. But yet they told me I need it because I called the day of the ultrasound because I had started heavily bleeding again, and I called and was like, hey, is this okay? And they're like, hey, you needed this ultrasound, but now you really need this ultrasound, so make sure you get it, but you can't get it here. So I had to go somewhere else to a different hospital for an outpatient ultrasound, and it was just complicated and it spanned out even further. and terrible, and then that doctor did not get back to me for over a week. So it's terrible, but at the end of it all, here I am. I am okay. I'm safe. Everything happened naturally, and I didn't have to take any kind of medication. I am okay. I had a complete miscarriage. My mental health still is not great, but it's better. Everything has been incredibly hard, and yeah, it's about where I've been. Dissociation has been really bad for me. I feel like that's how depression and anxiety and just, I don't know, coping with everything has manifested this time around. Just complete, like, dissociation. I can't tell you how much time I spent staring at the dang walls. Like, I didn't play any games that I wanted to play. I didn't watch any movies. I did nothing. Like, literally nothing. So when I didn't respond to messages and I wasn't streaming, like, I physically could not because I was still heavily bleeding. And I mentally could not. If I could have physically, I think I might have forced myself. So maybe if fate was like, we're gonna keep you heavy bleeding because otherwise you're gonna work too soon and you're not okay. But I've worked really hard these past couple weeks. I feel like I couldn't truly start my healing until I was done bleeding. I don't know if it was like hormonal because all my hormones had left by the time that I was done bleeding or what, but either way, I feel like I've done a lot of healing in the past 2-ish weeks, and I do feel like the next step to my healing is getting back in touch with my body and getting back in touch with myself, and I feel like working and streaming and getting back to all of you guys is the next step in that, because that's what's going to make me feel like myself. That's what's going to make me feel like I'm still me, that not necessarily that everything is okay, but just, you know, it's such a big part of myself when you guys are such a big piece of me that that's what I need to get back to, you know? So that's where I'm at in my healing. All of this has been terrible. I do not wish this upon anybody. If you have dealt with this, I am so sorry. My heart goes out to you. If anybody would like to discuss their experiences with it, feel free. If otherwise, this is the update. This is where I've been. And this is why I didn't want to talk about it. I'm sure after you guys see this, you will understand, but that's why I have been gone. And that is what I've been dealing with, and that's why I have been unable to stream both physically, mentally, and why I haven't gotten back to messages or been able to post content. So now that we are on the upswing of healing, I will be back to normally doing everything, back to normal streaming, back to normal posting, back to normal messaging, etc. We will be back to normal, at least in those regards. So yeah, that is the update. I hope you guys have been doing much better than me. And I thank you guys for sticking around and for being so abundantly patient with me. I've been gone for nearly 2 months, and I can't express how much I needed that time. So thank you for allowing me that time, and thank you for still being here when I come back. I appreciate you all more than words can ever say or express. So thank you, and I look forward to all of the growth and progress and productivity and just powerful feelings we are going to experience with each other, and that we're going to experience on this journey together. Because you guys are part of my journey, I'm a part of yours. And stream honestly is a whole fucking journey in itself, and all of our party nights, all of our hangout nights, all of our chill chat nights, they're all little journeys in themselves. So thank you for being a part of any of it, even if you're only a part of it a little bit. Thank you for being a part of it, and thank you for being here. And again, thank you for being so patient and just wonderful. And thank you everybody who has sent me well wishes. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate them. If you've sent me any amount of kind words or help or support in any way, literally in any way you could think of possible, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I am very much looking forward to being back to some normalcy with you guys. So I will see you all on stream, and thank you for watching until the end of this video. This video is so fucking long, but it involved a lot of explaining for you guys to really understand what has been going on. So thanks for watching the whole fucking thing, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will see you all soon on stream. Or just pop by at any time, no matter what time you watch this video. Thanks, guys. Bye! This is how I end all the other videos, right? Bye!